recording. So please do, if ever you have your laptop with you or your PC, uh, whatever I do, whatever I write, so please do follow para there is para you can also, as I've told yesterday. Oh, by the way, good morning everyone. Good morning programmers. So the recording is already on. Uh, as what I've said yesterday, the only way to learn programming is by writing programs in it. No? So take it from me, and it's really based on my experience. You cannot learn programming by watching. No, you cannot learn programming by just observing. That's what they call this one. That's the lowest form of learning. So pinaka the best na learning na style that you would have to apply in yourself or to yourselves must be uh, uh, kinesthetic or read and write, no? VARC mana, visual, oral, read and write, and kinesthetic. If you have heard of that VARC, uh, that will lead you that will guide you to whatever learning styles that is best for you. Kumbaga unsay dominant sa inyo ha. So if I may discuss it with you, usually you can take some test in the online para para you will discover yourself better no kung unsa ang best na learning style sa imo ha. So you just type in VARK, VARK as in VARK. So VARK is a measurement of what is dominant na learning style for you. So what is that, sir? Visual. So kana mga visual intelligence, no? Kumbaga, this kind of people or students are more into visually inclined. So meaning to say, they learn best when they get to see pictures, images, and videos. So mo na ang mga visual people. So most likely ganahan sila og mga video tutorial, but we all have it in ourselves, but only that naadyoy tao na dominant na sa iyaha ang visual, no? Like tan-aw mong sine, pagkaugma ma-memorize niya frame by frame unsay nahitabo sa movie. So inana, di ba naman tay night times na tanaw tag movie pero ma-feel na nato unta to lang part sa movie like climax mo lang to ma-retain nato. But with people who has visual, who are dominant into visual, so or visual skills, they are more like to remember or retain using their memory, no? So mao nang sa visual. So yan, you can only discover it by yourselves kung mag-take mo anang VARC. So but of course, again, as I've said, you have all these skills, only that unsa ang dominant or what is best or best fit for you. So ang uban pod oral, auditory, maminaw lang, no? So uh, yan, it's our sensory skills, no? So the next one is oral, auditory. So when you just listen to music, you can learn best. So naiuban, no, na calming music, and then by listening to music mas maka-learn sila. So naiuban na they want it na hilom ang ambience, ang environment para mas maka-learn sila. So ang uban kaning mga oral people na dominant kay ganahan ni sila magka-learn, ganahan ni sila mag-study na naay music, no? So pero depende sa music, but again ganahan sila na ay mga ano sa music yan. So that's oral, auditory. And the other one is read and write, RR, no? Read and write. So kani sila na mga tao are like um they are more into uh reading and writing. So they best learn when they read and then write the terms. So naiuban hilig take note, no? Sa libro tapos i-read, mag-read sila and then i-write nila. So usually in ana nga kana na skill is into mga mass communication or katong ganahan magbasa-basag mga libro, most likely mauna sila na mga people or students. So you will learn best pag magbasa ka, and also you summarize something. So mao nang mga tao na yan, read and write dominant. And then the other skill is telekinesthetic. Hindi daw, dili bitaw kinesthetic. So telekinesthetic, transfer. Anyway, kinesthetic, no? This one is somebody who is sporty, no? Kanang like say tawag na mga sporty people into sports, no? So but I'm not saying na sa sports lang siya, but it is more likely if you're in that if you're dominant in that skill, ang imuhang ano ana is while ganahan ka maglihok-lihok while studying, no? Ganahan ka na ibuhaton while studying, so murag you can do simultaneous act. But again, all this kani sila na bark are kaning upat, as I've mentioned, kani makatabang jud na sa inyo ha kung sa inyohang asa mo mas maka-learn best. So you first discover yourself. But most likely, since programming is a skill, basically we'll have to really do it, no? So it's more like of a read and write. So we read and write, no? So it's a skill, and the only way to develop it is you really have to experience it and execute your program and observe and diagnose if ever there are problems and fixed it. So inana ang sa programming. So that why I actually why I shared it to you, because I want you to improve yourself, no? Improve your learning or your study mechanisms para whatever you have done last sem, at least dili ninyo ma-apply with this summer, okay, or in the next coming years. So and I'm pretty much sure all most of the students that are here are already conquered the second semester, and you are thank you for making this far, no? For sure naadjud mo na learn na siguro, naadjud mo na learn. Okay, so ato anang dungagan inyong learning with with this summer. So now this course is all about object oriented programming. So yesterday we discussed about the idea of user defined classes. So if you try to look back in during our second semester, we only write our programs inside of a main, only one class. No? So usually there is a main method ta nagasulat og programs, and that is not what it happened in the industry. Now, if you would like to pursue your dreams or this kind of career as a programmer, then that skills of your that skills of you last time would not suffice. So we'll have to improve it through this object-oriented programming, and this is one of the concepts that you would really have to master or to develop, no, at least. So now to review, I have here three classes. No, na ako'y isa ka class na my class, and I have here some codes inside of this. And I also have main class where you can see public static void main. And then I have another class which is like a student, and it has also another codes in it. So all of these are like different entities, objects, or whatever we call this, but they are separately done or separately created, and they only meet in one class, so that you're able to, it's like this one is you, and this one is the other person, and this one is the other person, and you work together to achieve one goal, and that is to make the program work. So in Java, you can have as many as classes as you can in your project, as long as you have the main project, because that's what will Java look for. Then that is the start of the where the compiler of Java should look into. So basta makita na niyang na-main mo nang ano niya na i-run niya na program. So this is before we jump into we go directly to object oriented principles. I am going to discuss this one to you so that um, I'm going to discuss the concept, you will find it easier to adapt. Okay, so let me continue. All right, so think of this one as another class without the main. So you can write codes here, anything you want. Like for an instance, I have here the name, I have here the gender, and I have here the age. No, most likely this is what I defined class as a student. That they each student has a name and gender and an age. And there are methods that I wrote. And then if you try to remember na tay mga types of methods, no? So we have non-value returning method without parameters, non-value returning methods with parameters, and value returning with parameters, and value returning without parameters. They are all still here, no? Everything that you've learned from the past, from your second semester, from your programming to are still being applied here. So dili to mawala. In fact, mas magamit nato to ug maayo dire. Okay? So now let's have this, say for an instance we want to have another, let's say uh, what they call this one, a value returning method. Okay, so let's say display, something like this one. Okay, so let's say display info na lang niya. Info. Yan. So I'm going to have here string hold, and then I'm just going to copy paste this one. So this means that I'm going to display this, what they call this one, this information. Okay, but this time it's value returning. Okay, so you have here backslash n and then backslash n. So actually, pwede na ako ni siya ibutang into return hold or return something like that without storing it to hold. Or pwede pod kung gusto mo, ibutang sana ko siya sa hold, and then I will put here return hold, something like that. So I mean, it's up to you, no? Kung asa inyong gusto buhaton ana. So, as long as you have the idea of a method, no? So, that's why sa object-oriented programming, importante kayo ang inyong skills sa method. Kasi method-driven ang OOP, no? Object-oriented. Okay? So, once we call it here, it's like everything is parang clean and neat. Kasi the only thing that you will see in your main would be only this one, right? So now, if I'm going to call stud1.display info, this does not, if you try to run this one, actually this does not display anything except for whatever we input. Wait. Ako saning. Kasi na-add niya ang yan. Except for whatever we input, let's say, let's have here 11. So, sabi, apelyido ni 11 sa Stranger Things. Si 11L na lang. Okay, so she's a female, and then age is 12. So, ayan, 11L, female, and 12. So, the one that is called is display, and if you try to go back to student, you have there the display that says you display whatever the user is going to type for these variables. Now, what about this display info? Okay, so what about this display info? So, why is it not displayed? So, take note that it is a value returning method. No, so it's a value returning method. Now, once it is value returning method, it is only going to return a value, but it does not display a value unless ibutang ni mo diri system that out that print like hold. Of course, it will display kasi you have an output statement. But usually, para ano lang, usually we don't do this in a value returning method. So always take it from me ha, it's mawala ang essence sa value returning method pag i-display man dahil hindi mo na siya dira sa imuhang method. So dapat there should this is not necessary, no? So this is not necessary. So pero again, pwede hindi mo na siya buhaton. Okay? So now since this will what you call this one? This will display in order for this to display whatever say gigunit sa hold is of course this is where you are going to have yeah. So dili ka mag system that out that print and then stud1 that display info something like that. So that is why when you what happened, so when you run your program this time you have two outputs, the output that is displayed by the student that display and this display info. So let's try. So let's say we have Lucas Sinclair. Okay, Gen male, let's say 23. So there, it displayed twice because of the that display that is non-value returning, and the other one is stud1 that display, which is a value returning method, which I actually displayed here in my static void main. Yeah, so before I will continue, is there any questions? Any questions? Do you have questions?
Wala na, sir.
Wala. Okay, so kung wala, then I will continue. So now, so sir, paano siya if like, I want to like create another, what do you call this one? Another student, no? Stud1 tapos another student pod para dili balik-balik si ang i-display na si Sinclair or something like that, or katong gi-input nato ganina na duha ka book, I mean it's a replication of the one that you have entered or input. So actually pwede ka maghimog another object. So this is now the beginning of what I said to you about object-oriented programming, but this is not it and yet. So let's say I am going to create another student. So I would say this is a student 2 and then student 2. So therefore, I'm going to use this as like student 2. So if you try to observe, wait, I have here two objects, no? Wait, I just erase para the other one, that display. So I have here two. We have stud1 and stud2. So whatever I have assigned for my stud1 through input, so it will be displayed. And then for my stud2 naman, I created another object, so stud2, and then I took the input, and then if you can observe or if you can see it, or as you can notice, I use stud2.display info. Okay, so I'm going to change this display info into like, sige, change na ko ni siya into, nahiyon na to siya display. Wait for a while. Ay, sorry. Para para lahi ang style sa, so inalion na to siya. So straight lang iyang display, walay backslash n. Tapos info lang ang i-display. Okay, so inana tong buhaton and then backslash n. Okay, and then let's go to main class. And then we're going to call to display ways. Okay, so let's run our program and let's take input. So let's say we have Cory Kong, female, 12. So let's say Steve Harrington, male, and then let's say 34. So if you try to go back here, you have here the info of the first student, which is named Cory Kong, a female and 12. While the other one is Steve Harrington, male and 34. So yeah, that's it. So uh, that is how you connect two different classes. So whatever you can add some more here, whatever you would like to add, and then right here is i ano nimo siya, diri nimo siya ibutang. Okay? So I mean, diri nimo siya ibutang, tawagon lang mo nimong mga methods from here to make it work right here. So sir, pwede ba na diri pod ko diri na lang ko maghimog main instead of here? Pwede, no? I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but of course, the essence of separating the classes are like being forfeited. So, what's the sense? So, dapat wala dyan na siya main class pag kani siya. So, this is a separate class, and this is your main class, and this is where you invoke all your methods from that class. Okay? All right. So, now, if any question? Do you have any questions so far?
Wala, sir.
So wala? Are you sure? Okay. So this is now the so it would that mean sir na if mag-create ko another student na what they call this one object, so would that mean that I would also need to, you know, uh, create another student value or another object, 3, something like that? Yes, that is it, no? So, however, if you will do this kind of programming, of course, that is not good. This is not a good programming. So, what we can do is we can actually make this as an array, no? So, dire na nato to magamit si array. So, pwede na nato ni siya himuong array. Let's say we have here, let's say I have here 10. So, therefore, with using array, I will have, okay, so I will have here stud0.display because I have the array already. So, I don't have to create any more objects for my student. I will have to just use index. Okay? So, yan. And then this will be also like this and like this. So, as easy as that. So, you're no longer going to create more of an object of your student because you are already taking advantage of an array, and you in order for you to implement it is you will have to use index space. However, there's a problem with this one. What's the problem with this one, sir? So yeah, null pointer exception. So when we talk about null pointer exception, it means that you are not actually instantiating your student. I mean your this one. How is that possible, sir? What happened? Anong mag-error man siya? Remember, katong ganina natay stud 1, stud 2, stud 3, and you can see that every object stud 1, stud 2, stud 3 ato siyang gibuhatan og instantiation. Okay? Kani, this is only array instantiation. No? I mean, we just created an array object to have size of 10. But each of the each of the what you call this one, each of the index of that array are not being instantiated. So what you will have to do is kailangan mo siya ibutang 0 is equal to new and then student, something like that. So this is required, no? So required na siya to instantiate each object of sorry, of the array. So instantiate. Yan. So instantiate each object of the array. So and this is also the same thing you do in here, no? So sa stud1. So you'll have to do that, and then for stud2 you will also have to do that. So when you run this program, this would actually work. Okay? So blah 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 blah. Yan. There. So display na to ato ang program. So now, if we're going to have, this is the basic, no? So now, pwede na nato ni siya ibutang into loops para dili na po daghan atong codes. Like, maghimo na tag menu. For doing so, let's say, I'm going to create a menu for adding and displaying muna. So let's say menu. Okay. So again, it's the same idea or concept sa atong gibuhat last time, no? Only that naka-separate na ang naka-separate na ang classes and medyo limpyo na atong codes. Wala na siya sa isa ka class lang. You can just call the methods on that particular class. So you can have here do while something, and then let's have here string choice, something like that. That's the usual thing we do. Yan. And then now we have here choice that equals, let's say, and. So, inegate nato na siya na. So, dapat namutang tadrig and. Yan. Okay. So, now, if of course, we'll have to put here the choice, the option, no? So, let's say J option pane that show input dialog. Okay. So this is choose menu. This is one, and then let's have here menu. Let's say 0. Ay, kulang. Wait, let me check the parameters first. So, message title option, okay. Yes, no. Okay, message type. Okay, one for message. So, 1, 2, 3, message type. And then icon. So, icon sa and then option. Option, initial value. So, I guess nasobra. Ano show option man eh? Show input ka dapat. Okay, banto ka. Show input. Yan, that to string. Okay, so there you are. And then, so you can have switch on this particular matter and then you have here the choice. So let's have it in our case. So case and then break and then case and then break. Ayan, so after which you can now what they call this one, you can now use the stud, no? This object. So in here, since mag-add man ta, so you're going to have here stud, let's say is equal to, so this is an index base, so therefore, kailangan na to mag-ano, index, 0. So let's say we have I is equal to new student, that's it. And then right after that, we're going to have here stud I dot input. Ayan. So as easy as that, no? Inana na lang siya kadali. And then here, if we want to display them, so atong buhaton na is kung it depends sa imo kung sa imong tawagon either katong stud I dot display ano not the I but sorry depende sa imuhang i-display no but I mean what I kasi duha man gud din atong display info kasi is isa lang ka value ang ma-display unless maghimo tag loop ani pero sige ipakita na ko sa inyo ha na dili ta maghimo loop sa isa okay so let's say we have here string hold equals name gender and then age and then let's have here int let's say a is equal to 0 a is less than I and then a plus plus so before I forgot naday tay I plus plus dapat dire then I'm going to store hold plus equals to so there is stood I dot so syempre ang imong tawagon diri dili tong display kay void ba na no void so imong tawagon diri kaning display info so if tawagon nimo ng katong isa ka display stud a dot display pwede pero inani siya no so mag-display pud siya so i-try sa nato na and then let's run the program so let's run first and then so add tag value so na walay value so mail value add name gender age yan name gender and age so if we are going to display it so wala mo nakita na display but it seems like naa siya sa console kasi nga ang display nga gitawag na to is the console kani no so this is the advantage of value returning method in your program because pwede di mo na siya ma-display into kasi kung kana display ni mo ning stud.display sa GOption pane okay pakita na ako sa inyo ha that you are not allowed to do that so show message dialog null tapos butang ni mo dire let's say stud a dot display So mag-error na siya kasi void nga, no? So in-ano siya, hold. So even if imo pa na siyang hold plus equals to stud a dot display. This won't work. Why? Because again, this display is a void method. Ayan, void na siya kani mo ning method. No non-value returning. So mo na advantage as I've told you sa mga non-value returning method, like you are not allowed to do that. So that is why natay function na this one, stud I that display. So i-read niya tanan mga info sa student na imong store niya sa hold, and then i-display din mo sa G-option pane. See? So na i-run na to atong program. So ato lang siya A1 B B2, so C3. Ayan, and then display. What happened? Wait for a while. Okay, sorry. Because it should be an A, not an I. Sorry for that. So, balik ta. Kasi na A na ko siya. Na I na ko siya. I is our index. So, A1. Okay, B2. And then C3. Ayan. And then display it. So, murag magsumpay-sumpay, dili kay na wala backslash n dito. So ayan, A1, BB2, CC3. So actually, pwede na to na siya butangan og katong JText area. Okay? So yeah, this is, so see, the things that we do last time is murag gihimo lang nat pang project na, no? So himo ra lang gihimo nato siyang lab activity and normal na discussion na lang sa diri sa tuang sa object-oriented programming. So I never taught you this one there because again, this will confuse you a lot. So especially because we separate the classes. So that is the advantage of separating our classes. And this is what it should be done. Okay? So now, if ever na maghimo kag another, instead of inani imong button, you can actually create another public display info. And with this, pwede ka maghimog loop diri. Okay? Only that, pasa nimo diri ang, let's say, parang size, no? Size sa pilay dapat i-loop nimo. So you have two different versions of methods. So dire maghimo kog loop. So copy paste na nako niya. So I'm going to copy paste this one and paste it right here. And then instead of I will have here the size. Okay? And then mutang nako dire ang stud stud. Ayan. Okay, and then return hold. Yeah, that's it. So now, in your main class, instead of having this one, okay, you will just have to have a stud what is it? Display info. Hindi siya pwede. Wait. May tatong paagi. So since this is okay. I-try na lang sa nato ha. So let's say stud.display info, and we're going to put here this something like that. So let's try this one, and if this will work. So let's have here A1, B2. Ayan. Yeah, so it seems like it works. So if you try to observe, if you're going to erase this one, this is now your code. And this is the only code you will have in your main, rather than having all of this inside of your main. All right. So isn't it amazing? Isn't it surprising? Hello? Are you there?
Yes, sir. Kapamilitary, sir.
Sir.
Oh. So what is it tell you? How is that tell you?
Ano, sir? Murag, mas na-simplify ni mo ang program, sir. Dili pa sa tong sa last tudlo ni mo, sir. Nagtagas
Yes.
kayo.
Yes,
Karon kay
exactly.
dali na lang kaayo, sir. Murag dali na kay
Yes.
sabton kay gamay na lang kaayo.
Yes, exactly, no? The more we get to see codes kasi, it's giving us more headache, right? Tama, no? Tama imuhang ano. Every time we get to see long, long codes, ano, it will really give us a probability of having a headache kasi nga daghan kayo imong codes. So when you are going to isolate your all your codes and group them together to which of this class can only have this like group together only unsay related na codes for this class, like for this one, no, student, I am only going to write anything here, the codes related to my student. I mean, I want to take input, I want to take like display or something like that. So I will just write here, and you can actually make somebody who can work with this one, and then the other one is also going to work with uh, the main class, which connects or call this what you call this one, this class. So naka-organize na, no? It's more on of an organized and a clean and neat codes. And by the way, no, this is the beginning of object-oriented programming. But again, we're not yet into there. Okay? So I'm just actually creating an impressions na this is what it should look like, and this is what our codes should evolve. I mean, this diri na ta mag mo ni siya ang revolve or evolve. So diri na ta mag ano ang revolution sa to ang pag ano sa pag-write sa codes will be into like this kind of way of coding. So uh, I am going to, before we'll end our discussion or our class, I want you to group. So i-grupo ta mo. I want you to group yourselves into pila man mo kabuok dire. How many are we here? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, Tabinas, 20, 21. And that is, so since 21 mo, I'm going to group you into, dili pod siya by, kung by 3, 7 pod. So, by 5 na siguro. Plus, by 5, 4 groups. And then ay isa ka, nag-iyak pa ko naman dahil diri, oh. So, na isa ka grupo na sobrang isa. So, okay na by 5. Okay? So, what I would like you to do is, i-breakout session ta mo. Sige, please do your groupings. Ibutang sa messenger. Kay mo na pinakadali. Or I'll be the one to, ako na mag-assign or kamo mag-assign.
Ikaw lang, sir.
Ikaw lang, sir.
Sige. Sige, ako'y mag-assign and then what you will do is, sige, ibutang ninyo inyong groupings dayon kay para mahimuan ta mo breakout sessions. So, write the groupings kahit apelyido lang. Katong present lang ha, katong present lang karon. Katong present lang karon. Sulat ninyo
Ikaw
sa
mag-group, sir, or kami
Ay, ako'y mag-group or kamo?
Ikaw lang,
Kami
sir,
na lang,
para...
sir.
Ito man,
Ikaw
Jud.
na lang, sir. Ikaw na lang, sir.
Ako na.
Kami na
O,
lang.
sige. Okay, sige. This is for only for today, ah. Okay. So, I'm going to create, if ever ma-invite mo sa, i-accept lang ninyo, ha? Okay. Alright. So, ayan. So, please do accept. Wait. Sige. So, napata dire, ready na ako ang breakout sessions. So, inani ang buhaton ninyo. I want you to think of something na, di ba, naman ko student dire. Okay? I want you to replicate what I did, no? Replicate in a manner of na ako'y input, na ako'y display, na ako'y nani. But it depends on you kung saan ninyo siya. Basta naa siya input o na display. And saying or having said that, it doesn't always follow na inanio ninyo siya. Okay? Replicate in a way na you can again, you can have your own info here. So think of something, let's say a doctor, a nurse, an employee, an item, an animals, anything that you can think of, and then decide what information are you going to store for that entity that you have chosen, and then create mo mga methods, whatever, I don't know kung saan nyo pag-create sa mga methods and how do you do it. Basta ang basic requirement would be na siya input and na display. Okay? And then in your main class, you will do the same thing. Call the way para maka-add and then display. And then in a few after, so since 10:35, by 11 we are going to start with our presentation. So do you all follow? Did you guys
Yes, sir.
follow? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Ay, wala nyo nakita, no? But I mean kani, so kung again ha, so you can think of something like any entity. So again, animal, things like cell phone or whatsoever, basta na ay input, na ay display, and then dapat naka-separate class siya. Ang makita lang nako sa main class is something like in ani. So because this is for you to at least ma-apply dayon ninyo ang learning diretso, no, dili kay malipasan pag isa ka pila ka adlaw bago nyo buhaton. So since we still have time, by 11 kaya naman siguro na, okay, because the only thing you will need to do is i-follow lang ninyo ni. I'm sure you are doing screenshots or taking, you already capture nag-take picture na mo, and then later on just show to me how did you do it, what did you do, and present the working program. Okay? Are we guys good? Are we good? Are we all okay?
Individual ba ni sir pagkuan or sa isa lang jud ka group sir? Isa lang.
Isa lang ka
group, isa lang.
isa ka grupo lang. Tapos make sure everyone is na ay ano ha, na ay contribution. So make sure everyone is going to ano, so si kuan nag-ano ani sir, si ano nag-ano ani ana. Okay? Sige. Are we all good? Kay i-assign na tamo sa breakout session. Okay na? Kay di na tamo maanuhan, makita later on. Kamo na lay makakita sa unsay inyong kagrupo. Yes, Wendell.
Sir, pwede pakibalik itong mga program, sir.
Hmm.
I-screenshot lang ako, sir. Wait lang.
Okay.
Isa, sir.
And then okay na.
Okay na, sir. Thank you, sir.
Asa may
Okay.
class.java sir?
This one is katuning discussions na gahapon.
Okay, sir. Okay. Okay,
Mura
sir.
ra gyapon na siya og basta I mean i-share na ko tong isa ka video na gahapon para sa mga wala kasabay, like di ba syempre ganina nagdiretso naman ta diri, actually continuation ni siya atong gibuhat karon sa gibuhat namo gahapon. Ha? Okay? So only that nag-focus na lang ko sa duha ka classes, student and main class. Kaning my class wala na nako gahapon na mo na discussion. Anyway, masabtan niyo na pag i-share na ko to na video. So okay na, ready na? I'll give you so mga 11, balik ta mo later on there is a main session. So i-assign na ta mo. So once I open this one, you will be assigned to each group, each room. So please do accept and then dili ta mo I mean kamo nay bahala magstoryahan na sa inyong buhaton. Okay? And then i-visit lang ta mo every group. Okay? So okay na ta? Ready na?
Sir, okay na, sir.
Okay. So open. Ayan. So please do accept para mawala mo diri sa main session para maadto mo sa another session. So i-accept na ninyo para maadto na mo sa. So we have rooms 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I guess na may groupings, makita naman ninyo. So, yan. Jilin, Wendell. Nalagay mo dire.
Sir, pwede pakibalik ko sir kay nagbug ako sir, di ko kaano.
Unsa ka na room?
Wala ko kabalo sir, nag-block akong screen sir tapos akong gi-restart.
Nag-block. Uy, nang malik lagi mo tanan.
Block mo ro tanan sir.
Ha?
Nag-block ako ang screen sir.
Wala man magawa, sir.
Are you sure? 26 na lagi ni kabuok lagi.
Nato nagstorya ganina niya. Naka-block akong screen.
Wait. Ano mag-block man yung screen? Ang uban nag-emote na kayo na silang hinimo dito. Wait, ha? Sige, ipambalik sa tamo sa main session. Pa sila na balikon sa nato para magkasinabot ta. Ako i-chat sila. Balik sa nanatanan, balik sa main session. Wala to sa nato sila ha, kay wala pa nakabalik ang uban.
Sige sir, thank you sir.
Okay, close na. So, balik diri tanan. Open ako ha.
Wala lagi ko na redirect lagi, sir.
Ako sad, sir,
Nahagyan
wala,
ako
sir.
diri.
Sir, ayaw mo dyan dali, sir.
Unsa man eh? Myla. Unsa kang ano Myla? Unsa ka na room?
Ila Sheki, sir.
Room, unsa na nga room? Check
Room
na.
4 ata, sir.
Room 4. Sige.
Oo.
Si okay, CR wala na. Ayan. Sige, assign na ta magbalik ha. Mag-black screen. Ano mag-black screen man? Sige daw, try lang sa daw.
I-move na ko ron, sir, 10 seconds. Pag mag-black screen na sad na, sir, mabalik na lang ko.
Sige, sige. Sige, try na kung adto sa mga
Sir, wala ko na ko, sir. Wala ko,
ano man eh.
Ako sad, sir, black lang dyan.
Wala siya, sir, ba?
Nana malagi inyong uban classmates dito oh. Wait ha, mo adto daw ko ha. Mo try kog adto sa room 1.
Sir, black dyan ako, sir.
Lock screen sa dako, sir.
Black screen ako, sir.
Nalagi mo balik. Wait ha.
Mag-black dyan ako, sir.
Black, black.
Lock screen na mo, sir.
Pero nadunggan din, madunggan ako sila, sir.
So ang mga naa diri ang wala kasulod, ang mga naa dito nakasulod na to.
Oh, nakasulod na to, sir. Kami lang.
Madunggan na mo sila, sir, pero black lang siya. Wala.
Black lang.
Basin siguro naka-browser lang may wala may naka-ano. O may nakagamit og app. Download ko Microsoft Teams.
Sila dito sa room 4 tanan. Oh, thank you. Uy, nasa sila sa room 4 tanan. Nasa dito tanan nagtapok.
Nalib na ko. Saan pagliban?
Magbalik-balik.
Gago, nalip
Ay,
ka,
ay,
oy.
room.
Live na ka, gibiyaan na kaniya.
Gibiyaan na day ko kalooy na ko.
Gibiyaan na kaniya. Wait ha, try na to usab. 5 rooms. Each room. Create.
Sir, kanang 21 lang, di ba, may kabuok, sir, tapos ingon ka tinaglima. Di ba, dapat, sir, 4 lang man ka room.
4 ra bitaw. 5, wait. 5, kani, upat ka rooms. Ano, nalima man ni ako ang rooms. Ay, kasi ang nag-assign man gud siya, automatic, gi-manual niya. Automatic ni Teams. Kay 21, sobra man. So, mo nang
Ay, isa, nag-solo.
Oh, So wait lang ha. Dapat upat lang ni ka-rooms. Ang nasa room 1, Francisco, wait ha, ako ning then room 5. Sige, wait. Mao ninyo ang mga rooms, oh. Share na lang nako. Mao ninyong rooms. So room 1 kay kana. Okay. Room 2 kani inyong grupo. And then room 3 kani. And then room 4 ay sorry. Room 4 is my goodness, nang sa man eh. Room 4 and then room 5 sila Mayla. So dapat ma-assign mo dra na group or na room. So open ako. And then wait ha, butang na ako balik sa ato na ako sa Facebook. Wala, di jud mo makaano.
Dili gid sir.
Pwede naman siguro dito mag-breakout session basta naamoy grupo, di ba?
Yes, sir. Nami grupo, sir. Pero di ko kasulod sa sir.
Kasi saan man yung magkagubot ta diri ron.
Mag-download yung app gani, sir. Di ko sa browser, kay basin sa browser lang, di ba?
Ang the rest kay nana sila dito no.
Ano dito sila, sir?
Una na o si Myla, si Shekay na in meeting na. So ang kamo Francisco, Inumata, Jason, kamong ang inyong si Dali lang isa na dito sa room 1.
Gani sir, tapos sila kay na-block daw.
Black daw dito.
Walang gawa,
Oh,
sir.
block daw ila sir, nasa GC.
Oh?
Wala din mo gawas.
Unsa ning nabilin diri sir?
Kasi morning na black sila dito kay mo na ang inyong love life black joke.
Ay pauso ka sir, charot.
Kani i-try na ko ato sa ning room 3 ha. Join ko aning room 3 kay murag nasa din he.
Unsay nahitabo sa mga nabilin diri guys?
Wala di ko kasulod.
Ako kay wala lagi ko nakaano katong di ba mo auto ano man na sulod sa meeting ako kay wala ano man eh.
Mangundang ay mangundang.
Namay
Ay,
nakabutang ang join now.
Wala
Pagkauman.
ako on.
Ako na magibitot ang join now pagkauman kay Ako lang mag-send sa GC akong screenshot mo ito inihitabo sa kuha pag pindot ako sa join.
Pauso lagi ning MS Team ay kinsa may nagpakaba pauso ani. Go guys.
Naana sila dito. Rihanay na. Saan maning uban nanong di man mo kasulod.
Unsay group ninyo, guys?
Ni nana o natre o. Actually na inyong grupo dire wait ha. O ninyong grupo. Has to join. Has to join. Kaning room 3 nagkastoryahanay na sa dito, okay na ni sila. Si Jessa lang daw ang ano kay iyang microphone iya pang i-fix. So far kaning room 4 kompleto sila. Si Teriote lang ang wala pa pod. Sa room 5 okay na ni sila except kay Padbadon na which is na yata dire.
Sir, di ko sulod sir.
Di may
Excuse me,
kasulod, sir.
sir.
Nganong di man makasulod? Panoktok mo para makasulod mo.
Excuse me, sir. Wala goy ano, sir. Kanang notice
Walay
good
join
na
nakabutang.
join. Yes, sir.
Ay, sige. Pangita na lang ay namoy ano other way or other app na mapangitaan na maka-storya mo.
Sa JMeet sir.
Discord, sir.
O ana na lang, sige na lang. Basta kay kabalo mo sa inyong grupo, dito na lang mo para kay kung diri man mo magstoryahan ay magkagubot ta. Mas okay maguni dire kay para mabisit-visit mata mo every group like kani nga room adto lang ko dito mosulod ko dito unsay nahitabo kumusta ana mas okay kumunta na siya gud dire. Pero I don't know what seems to be the problem.
Di ka kapuan sir kanang ikaw na magbutang sa mo sa room.
Mabutang man ta mo sige ha tan-aw nato si Nicole Coquilia unsa ka na room? Room 2. Room 2. Kani si Inumata Barral og si Francisco asa man ni sila ron?
Sir, naka-double-double na account, sir. Nag-double-double
Double-double
lang account.
Sir, di ko kasulod.
Nag-double-double lang account. Kay kuan lang man siya kanang
unsa?
Duha yata gigamit na device, sir. PC or cellphone yata ang gamit device na. Bantog
Okay.
nagka-double-double, sir.
Oo, murag ana. Pero na-continue naman sila dito sabot ang uban. Kamo lang man jud naa dire. Saan man ako ni? Wait
sir, kuan sir, na double mo gud ang account, sir. Pag refresh nimo, sir, maduhan ang account. Ang ako dito, sir, na ang isa dito, sir, pero na ako diri
Mao ba? Sige. Ako lang sa ni ipang close tanan be. Sige na lang kanila lang find your own way to katong nga grupo okay na ta atong nga grupo na sa GC.
Yes, sir.
Sir, wala lagi akong pangalan dito, sir.
Ako asad, sir.
Find your own way to communicate and collaborate. And then we will meet go back
Sa
to
Discord
team.
na lang, sir, pagbuhat og voice channel, sir, para sa group 1, group 2, group 3,
Sige.
group 4.
Sige. Namo sa
Ato na lang,
Discord.
sir. Nami sa Discord, sir.
Okay.
Since ikaw man ang admin sir, ikaw na lang mag-photo.
Sige, sige. Unsa man ako, room 1, room 2, ana, gihapon.
Ingatan lang sir.
Sige, mo na akong channel, voice channel, no? Sige, voice. So, room 1, i-private, lagi i-private. I-private or public, dili na.
Ayaw na sir, kaya basin maglisod pa. Sa kumura kami katara magpamusulod sa room 1 ang musulod yan.
Sige, create channel. So, room 1, nanay room 1.
Sir, ug mo join sa Discord, sir. Pwede mo hawa dere.
Oo, pwede.
Among name lagi sa group, sir. Wala, sir.
Ayaw hawa. Ayaw naghawa. Ano mo hawa man ka?
Basin dili ka kaya akong PC, sir.
Okay. Sige, okay ra. Basta balik lang mo niya. Mga 10, go back at 10, 20. Kaya man guro 20, dali naman nan to. Inyo
Sir,
naman to.
8 naman, sir.
At 11 day, 11. Inyo naman to i-copy good. Present. Mao na at least ma-apply dayon ninyo. Room 2, room 3, room 4. So base mo sa inyo 4 lang mataman ta?
5, sir.
5. Iskot mo ni. Sa man ni? Ano mo? Room 5.